Hey everybody, Six String Supplies. Today I'm going to show you an alternative way to wire your 4-way Telecaster switch. Four-way tele switches are not new by any means. Most of us know the switching options. We did do a video on how to wire a 4-way switch for your Telecaster a few years ago. I'll put a link to it on the screen should you want to go back and refer to that. So classic, stock, or the common or normal way to wire a 4-way switch would give you the following controls. Position 1 gives you bridge pickup only. Position 2 gives you bridge and neck in parallel. Position 3 gives you neck pickup only. So those are the three standard Telecaster switching positions. And then position 4 is the 4-way mod really. So it gives you the bridge and neck pickup in series. However, some players prefer position 4 to be neck only. It feels a lot more natural and logical. They also want the series combo to be next to the parallel combo in the middle positions. So both pickup combinations, switch positions are next to each other. Therefore, you don't have to skip a position just to get to the series wiring. So in this video, I'm going to show you an alternative way to wire the switch. So it gives you the positions as follows. Position 1, as normal, bridge pickup only. Position 2 gives you bridge and neck in parallel. Then we get the series mod in position 3, and position 4 is neck only. We'll go through the process step by step, including the neck pickup modification with the cover ground wire, and some mini diagrams in the corner of the screen as usual, just to guide us through the tutorial. I'll just give you a quick overview of what I'm using. So essentially I'm using our 4-way Telecaster wiring kit. We sell these on the website. I'll put a link up below, but you can of course just use the components individually. So we're using CTS Pot's 250K solid shaft. We're using a Switchcraft jack socket. You can use any type and value of capacitor that you please, but I'm using a 0.047. And we've got some Gavit cloth wire, some random little snippets of heat shrink tubing, and of course the main star of the show, the Oak Grigsby 4-way switch. As with previous videos on blade switches, we will label the switch lugs to make it easier for you. These on the left will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the lugs on the other side, on the right hand side, will just simply be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1 to 5, 6 to 10. We'll start off with the circuit itself, then we'll move on to the pickups, and we'll put the whole assembly into a Telecaster. Amateur tip, I like to use you want something hollow and something elevated to be able to put your assembly on top. Nothing better than an empty or used sellotape roll. So we'll start off by using our capacitor. Like I say, I'm using a 0.047, you can use any type you want. And the reason why I'm starting with this is because it kills two birds with one stone. We need to ground this lug here on the volume control, otherwise it won't function as a volume control. And our capacitor is getting connected to the middle lug here. We're going to run the other end of it through this lug on the Telecaster, and then we're going to solder that to the back of the pot. So we're just going to snip the end of the capacitor wire here. Put that to one side because we'll use it later. We're going to feed this through the volume lug. Like I say, that needs to be grounded, otherwise it will not function properly. Again, this is where tape is your friend. Just hold that in place. So we're going to do the tone cap first. So output, or the middle of the tone control. Just going to put our soldering iron behind. Give it a couple of seconds to heat up. Now it's safe to remove the tape, and we're doing exactly the same. We're just going to solder this into this lug there. solder the end of the wire here onto the top of the pot. And as I say, that kills two birds with one stone. So that capacitor lead that we snipped off earlier, we're going to use that now. We need to make a jumper connection between lugs 3 on this side, going across to number 9 on the other side. So one way to do that, and I like to use a lead like this, is simply to make it into the shape of a staple. Just like that. It's not easy to see because my fingers are covering it, but it's a staple basically. You all know what the shape of a staple looks like. And we're going to put that, use that as our jumper wire going across the switch. You don't have to use a staple like I do. You can of course use any wire, use the cloth wire that comes with the kit. Next we need to make a connection between lugs 7 and 8, and as you can see I've done that by threading through some cloth wire up through number 8 and jumping it across to number 7. So we're just going to solder that one in place there. So we have the connection between lugs 7 and 8 on the other side of the switch, and the other end of this cloth wire is going to our volume input. And while we're here, we need to connect the input of the volume control straight across to the lug opposite on the tone control. So we'll just put in a wire there, and we'll solder them both in together. We need to make a connection between lugs 2 and 4, so we're now onto the opposite side of the switch. So I'm going to use some black cloth wire to connect lug 2 to lug 4, and then we need to connect lug 4 to ground on the pot casing. So that's the switch done. As I say, we need to ground lug 4. I tend to put it on the side of the pot casing there, just because it leaves more space for the other grounds that need to go on the volume pot later on, but you can put it anywhere you want. You might find it easier on top of the casing. So now we'll whiz through the jack socket, then we'll move on to the pickups. For the jack socket, we've done a few of these over the years in our videos, but we'll go through this one nice and quickly. So basically the inner ring here, this ring, that is the sleeve, which is our ground lug, and the tip, the other one, is where we put our signal wire, the positive signal. So I'm just going to use some black cloth wire. I'm going to bend it through the hole like that so it's got a nice physical, mechanical connection. And we'll do exactly the same on the tip. Just bend the wire around to give it a mechanical connection. This is completely optional, of course, but the reason why we provide some heat shrink tubing in the wiring kit is so you can just cover the joints on your jack socket there, tie them together, and then again, this is optional, but it's generally a good idea to twist the ground and the signal wires tightly together like so, just to help with any unwanted noise. To install the jack, we're going to ground it on the tone control, and we're going to put the signal wire to the output, which is the middle of our volume control. Now for the pickups. I'm using Gatekeeper pickups for this mod. I'll put a link to a demo of these in the description so you can give them a whirl if you're that way inclined. To do the 4-way series mod properly with a standard covered tele neck pickup, it is likely you will need to do some minor modification to the pickup itself. Most pickup winders offer this as an option, so some pickups come with this mod already done, in which case no worries, but if not, we need to separate the cover from the ground and add a new separate ground wire for it. So typically the black wire here is the coil start wire, which typically is going to be your ground, and most tele pickups will have the end of that wire bent over as a jumper to connect to the tab here, which is the cover. So you see these metal tabs which will hold the cover in place. There's obviously one right here as well. But for the 4-way mod, we connect our pickup ground wire to the switch, which means we need to add a new ground wire for the cover itself, because if that cover is not grounded, it's going to give you all kinds of horrific feedback issues. So we need to make sure we ground that one. The easiest way for me to do it anyway is to heat up the solder on the tab. You might have to flow in a bit of solder just to, ironically, add more to get it to flow. And then that allows you to lift it up so you can separate it that way. And once that's been desoldered, we can simply snip this off. And once that's removed, we can add our ground wire. When you've finished, you should have something looking like this. So we've got our 3 wires here coming from the pickup. So the black wire typically is the coil start, which is our ground. The white wire we haven't touched at all. That is the coil finish, which is our positive or signal wire. And the yellow wire we've just added is the new ground wire for the cover. So what we're going to do now is put everything into a Telecaster and show you what goes where. Everything's in place, ready to hook up the pickups to the main circuit that we did earlier. just a little pointer, which is off camera because it's under the pick guard, but as you can see, as we referred to earlier in the video, we twisted these wires for the jack socket together, just to help, a little help towards noise reduction. You can also do the same with the pickup wires, so I've done that, but obviously because they're underneath you can't see them. The twisting ends just under here somewhere, because you don't want them twisted as they're coming up to the switch, because it makes it a bit awkward. So here we have all the wires from the pickups coming through. So these three here are the ones we just discussed coming from the neck pickups. We've got the ground, the signal, and the yellow one is the new cover ground. I've got the two coming from the bridge pickup, so that's the ground, the black, and then the white is the signal wire. And this wire here, you may or may not have one. I like to think that you do. This is the ground from the bridge itself, so it's sitting underneath the ground, and that's effectively the string ground. A lot of diagrams will refer to it as the main ground from the bridge. We'll start with the bridge pickup. I'm just using this cloth here just to stop any flux residue splashing onto the finish. I should really be using a heat-proof one, but it's not. So our bridge pickup, the signal wire, is going to lug number 6 on the switch. So it's this one all the way here on the far side. We're going to put the ground wire from the bridge pickup onto the top of the pot casing. The main ground from the bridge itself is also going onto the pot casing. Now for the neck pickup. So the separate ground wire for the cover, the yellow one, again, this is going onto the pot casing, so wherever there's space. You can, of course, twist all three wires together and ground them that way, but I like to give them their each individual grounding spots. Now for the neck pickup itself, the ground wire is going to this lug here, so that's number 5. And the neck signal wire itself is going to number 7. This one here, where we've already got that jumper wire. So you can just reheat that joint and push the wire through the gap. There you go guys, that's an alternative way to wire your 4-way telly switch. Give it a go, let us know what you think. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next video.